Thanks to Joe Douglas, the Jets have 2 top 10 picks, but it appears he's not done yet. Could the Jets be looking to trade at a number 10 overall?
J-E-T-S, Jets!
All right, welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. All right, boys and girls, we got a little bit of draft drama trade news. Apparently, Trader Joe Douglas has not had enough of fleecing the entire NFL landscape in his trade, so he's possibly looking to move down from his 10th overall pick by way of either taking a receiver or trading number 10 for a receiver, or trading down and getting some more picks for future years. So this is a whole lot of interesting. What would we do? What do we want to look at? What do we want to get in a trade back? Who are we looking to target? Is it worth it for the Jets? Does it make any sense across the board? Well, for a lot of Jet fans, a lot of people want to sit tight and make the pick just to get the best players available, quality over quantity when you have so many draft picks. But I can understand the love affair with wanting to trade down, get some more picks, and then wind up filling out your roster just a little bit more. Especially when the Jets have the Senior Bowl at their disposal, they're going to have a very solid knowledge of guys that are going to be available in these mid to late round picks, so it's not a bad idea to try and trade down. Now, if you're asking me, if you're giving me the option between 4 and 10, I would prefer to trade down from 4. One, because I think we're going to miss out possibly on the top 2 edge rushers in Hutchinson and Thibodeaux. And at that point, maybe it's worth it to slide down a few picks, pick up maybe a first next year or a second this year, and get some guys somewhere around the number 10 pick instead. Well, it's not always going to work out like that, and the Jets may wind up having to move number 10. Now, why is number 10 such a valuable pick? Well, Washington is sitting just one pick behind us at number 11, and there's a really good likelihood that they are going to want to take a quarterback. And there's a very strong possibility that that first quarterback off the board could be at number 11 overall, so number 10 could be a hot spot for a quarterback. Now, obviously, Carolina could take a quarterback. I don't think the Giants are going to take a quarterback, but really, Carolina is probably the only other team in front of us that we might have to consider trading when trading the number 10 overall pick. In front of us, meaning in front of us at number 10, not in front of us at number 4. Sorry. Confusion. All right. So does it make sense to move back, right? What teams could possibly be looking up? And there's a few ways you could go about it. The 2 teams I'm really looking at from the back part of the draft, I shouldn't even say the back part of the draft, but just a few draft picks later that could be looking to come up and get a quarterback, and that's the Saints and the Steelers. Obviously, Big Ben is going to announce his retirement most likely. For all intents and purposes, he has told us these were going to be his last game or two over the course of the tail end of the season here. And then the Saints are like $50 or $60 million over the salary cap, and more than likely will not be able to pay a quarterback, let alone try to field an entire team in the NFL. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they approach that cap situation. So there's a whole lot of things you could possibly look to do here. And for me, I guess when I'm looking at this outset and they're not looking to move number 4, I think in my mind, if this rumor is true and we are taking it at face value, that tells me that the Jets are targeting someone specifically at number 4. And that tells me either offensive line or maybe safety Kyle Hamilton. I know he's kind of a hot button draft pick at number 4 for a lot of Jet fans, given the Jamal Adams pick a few years ago. But I do think that unicorn type prospect, generational prospect label that's going to be attached to him will be very enticing for the New York Jets, along with the offensive lineman at the top there. So if we're not looking to move out of number 4, it means that there's going to be, we got a bunch of guys maybe around the 10th pick that we'd be okay getting, or guys maybe from 10 to 20 that are all within a certain deviation of one another. When I'm looking at what I'd like to get back in this trade, I started looking around. So, interesting trade in a draft that didn't necessarily have super strong quarterbacks coming out in 2017. We know now that there were strong quarterbacks that came out of it. Unfortunately, the top quarterback taken was Mitch Trubisky. The Jets wind up making their pick at number 6 with Jamal Adams. And then at number 10 goes Patrick Mahomes, and I think it was 12 was where Watson went. So these guys, Watson and Mahomes, were not really thought of elite caliber prospects. They weren't thought of as even the best quarterbacks in their draft. I would say Mahomes as a prospect at that point is totally different than year 2 Mahomes that we got to see explode onto the scene. So you never know what teams are going to look to move up and try to get, because Kansas City moves from pick 27 all the way up to pick number 10 to draft Mahomes to let him sit on the bench for a year. What did they give up? They gave up number 27 overall, a third-round pick in that same year's draft, and a first-round pick the following year. So are you willing to move down as far as the late 20s possibly, just to get a first for next year and a third this year? I don't think I want to go back that far. I think the Saints sitting at pick number 18 and the Steelers sitting at pick number 20 are probably about as far back as I'd like to go, and the move up for them, point-wise, according to the draft value chart, is about a mid-second round pick. So, do you want to move down for a mid-second round pick to pick 18 or 20? I don't really want to, I'll be honest. I think for me, I would strongly target their first-round pick for next year as a prerequisite to trying to get up and get your quarterback. You're going to pay a little bit of a tax to get the guy you want. Not to mention, next year seems like it's a stronger, stouter quarterback class than the one we're seeing right now, and I'm all about trading out of draft picks if you can. I don't expect the Saints or the Steelers to be very good next year, and I think that may be why there might be a little bit more hesitancy to give up a first-round pick on their side of things. But I would prefer the first next year. Be able to trade down, wheel and deal, make some moves happen. Maybe things go sideways with the player you're expecting to be a rock-solid stud, and you need to use those picks to go up and do something else. Entirely possible. Or do you move back for a receiver? One popular trade option for a lot of Jet fans, and probably the most enthusiastic, probably the most enthusiastic I'd be about a trade down would be trading with the Saints. If we are going down from 10 to 18, I would probably look to try and get Michael Thomas as part of that trade. Maybe it's a third round pick and Michael Thomas is what we get back. And then we wind up getting their, obviously the number 18 pick. So you still make 2 picks in the first round. You pick up your star wide receiver, but it's less of a risk given that you're not just giving up one draft pick. You're also acquiring some other pieces to this. It's interesting. It's interesting stuff all the way around. Could the Jets trade number 10 overall for an actual player? We've talked about Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, some other players that could be traded. For me, if I'm looking to trade number 10 for a player, it better be DK Metcalf. I don't want to trade number 10 straight up for a player at all, but if it had to be one, it would probably be DK Metcalf. Other sort of trade options, I'm probably looking like receiver, probably a second round draft pick is what I'm looking to give up. I don't know. What do you guys think that the number 10th overall pick is worth? Are you willing to pass up players like maybe a Nakobe Dean or a Treylon Burks or someone along those lines to move back a few picks, add some more draft picks and capital, or do you want to make the pick at 10? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm not exactly sure which way I want to go on this. I'm all for a trade. I would just prefer it to be a trade down from 4 down to like 8 or 12 as opposed to 10 down to 18 or 20. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.